So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable.
And who's he hit? Me. A nigga he know he could beat. That is some
It's kind of unreal to think that it's been more than a year since that fateful night at the Oscars. The night where Will Smith strutted on stage and smacked Chris Rock right across the face on live TV. That night, March 27th, 2022, will go down in the history books. And in case you're watching from the future on YouTube for some historical facts, I'll take you back. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to never miss out on any new videos. It's free and helps us bring you tons of new content. So Chris Rock was on stage, doing his thing, hosting the Oscars. Then he decided to make a joke about Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. He said something like, "Hey Jada, I love you. I can't wait for G.I. Jane 2," referencing Jada's bald head. But little did he know that Jada's shaved head was because she had alopecia, a condition that causes hair loss. Jada rolled her eyes in response, but Will found it pretty funny. That is, until he couldn't take it anymore because he finally clued in to his wife's reaction. So he sprinted up on stage and gave Chris Rock a good old slap. Now, Chris tried to keep going on with his jokes, but Will wasn't having any of it. He shouted from his seat,
"Keep my wife's name out your f***ing mouth!"
But since then, it's been a wild ride. Will has apologized countless times, trying to make up for what he did. Lots of folks who were there that night have also come forward and shared their side of the story. And then there's Chris Rock, who's been cashing in on cracking jokes about the whole thing with his comedy specials. Now, initially, when it happened, Chris was pretty quiet about the whole thing. Right after the slap, he was doing just fine backstage. He even made some jokes about taking a punch from the legendary Muhammad Ali, who Will Smith portrayed in a movie. But the police, they were on standby. Some producers claimed that the LAPD were all set to arrest Smith if they had to. But Chris didn't file charges, and Will was free to go on and win an Oscar for his work with King Richard. After that night, Will Smith released a statement to apologize for his behavior. He acknowledged that being the subject of jokes comes with the territory, but he drew the line when it came to a joke about Jada's medical condition. He admitted that his emotional reaction was out of line and that he was wrong. He even expressed feeling embarrassed about it all. Will emphasized that violence has no place in a world filled with love and kindness. And finally, Chris Rock decided to address the slap during his next stand-up performance. He told a Boston audience,
I don't have like a bunch of shit about what happened, so if you came to hear that, I had like a whole show I wrote before this weekend, and I'm still kind of processing what happened, so at some point I'll talk about that shit. And it'll be serious, it'll be funny.
Afterwards, an investigation took place, and the board of directors from the Academy Awards made a decision. They banned Will Smith from the ceremony for a whopping 10 years. Now, that's a pretty serious consequence. And after everything kind of settled down a bit, Will Smith started to make public appearances. He made one on The Daily Show to promote his movie Emancipation. During the interview, he opened up about the slap incident and described it as a horrific night. He acknowledged that there were many nuances and complexities involved, but ultimately, he admitted that he'd lost control. He mentioned going through something that night and emphasized that that did not justify his behavior at all. He shared that it brought up a lot of personal issues, like the memories of witnessing his father abuse his mother. Will made it clear that the person he became in that moment was not who he wants to be. And then came the highly anticipated comedy special. Everyone was waiting for this. Chris Rock had the chance to address the infamous moment when he was slapped on stage at the Oscars. The internet was on fire. People were wondering if the entire special was going to revolve around that slap. This one user said, "I doubt Chris Rock's special is just about Will Smith, but it's insane that a man got slapped on national TV and you think he should just shut up about it. He's a comedian using his real-life experience in his art, like comedians always do." Knowing that that audience was eager for the moment, Rock very strategically saved it for the end of his set during the Netflix live special, Chris Rock, Selective Outrage. And when that moment arrived, Rock unleashed his thoughts without holding back. He took aim at Smith, dragging his wife Jada Pinkett Smith, and diving into the couple's marital issues, including Jada's admission of a relationship with singer August Alsina during an episode of Red Table Talk. Rock declared,
Will Smith practices selective outrage. Because everybody knows what the fuck happened. Everybody that really knows I had nothing to do with it. I didn't have any entanglements.
He continued,
His wife was fucking her son's friend, okay? Now, I normally would not talk about this, but for some reason, these put that on the internet. That we all been cheated on. Everybody in here have been cheated on. None of us have ever been interviewed by the person that cheated on us on television.
Rock went on to highlight that
She hurt him way more than he hurt me, okay?
he pointed out that the whole world called Smith names, referring to him as a Rock even mentioned
I tried to call the motherfucker and give him my condolences. He ain't pick up for me.
He then listed various individuals, like Charlemagne the God and The View, who also called Smith a bitch after that Red Table Talk interview. Rock concluded by stating,
Everybody called him a bitch. And who's he hit? Me. A nigga he know he could beat. That is some bitch.
Chris Rock didn't hold back during that special, and it's definitely also one that's going to go down in history. And boy, did Chris Rock cash in on it. Now, the rest of the celebrity world, they also kept talking about the incident. During an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Kenny Rock, Chris's brother, expressed his skepticism towards Will Smith's apology. He believed that the apology was insincere and merely a public response move. Kenny speculated that Smith's publicist and his team might have advised him to do that apology. Tony Rock, another one of Chris Rock's brothers, also shared some very similar sentiments, saying that he did not accept Smith's apology and referred to the entire incident as foul. Now, Kenny elaborated on his viewpoint, mentioning that he might have actually viewed the apology differently if Smith had initially apologized during his acceptance speech and showed some sort of genuine remorse. But since that didn't happen, Kenny felt there was something more to it. A lot of fans also became divided, though very much unevenly so. Some were Team Chris, while there was a very small section of people who still rooted for Will too. This one person tweeted, Chris Rock should thank Will Smith for that slap because he became relevant again, while another disagreed. Chris Rock is allowed to tell a joke, an unfunny one even, and Jada Smith is allowed to be offended. Will Smith should, however, not be allowed to slap someone on behalf of his offended wife. Another added, so it's a day of reflection and a day to remember Will Smith begs a Grammy and he slaps Chris Rock over a joke about his wife. You were cracked up on the joke, but saw your wife's expression and decided to play the protector over her and walk up and slap Chris Rock? Really? And then there were some people who were just done with the whole thing. They tweeted, who else don't give two shits that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock like a bitch? Who slaps another man? So weak. And there were a lot of other celebrities who also commented on the situation. Steve Harvey said,
I'm a Christian, right? But I'm like a really underdeveloped Christian. You know, like I don't do high level Christianity. I'm not like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like a 2. And that's good. Because that's the level of Christianity I can work on.
Sharon Osbourne was also pretty pissed and said, when he wins the Best Actor award, everybody stands up. It's like, you're such hypocrites. You're going to go home and say how disgraceful his behavior was, but you stand up and give him a standing ovation? You know, it's like I've always said, in this industry, if people could make a buck off you, if Hitler were alive today, they would give him a TV show. And finally, Cheryl Underwood said something that everyone was worried about.
And I'm gonna say this as a comic. I am afraid now to get on a stage because on my 3rd show where everybody been drinking, if you don't like my joke, do you now believe that you can get up and slap me?
So, what do you think? Comment down below and let us know. If you like this video, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to see my next video. I post updates like this every week where I uncover the secrets of your favorite celebrities.